Have you ever met someone who genuinely doesn't care about their birthday? Not someone who says it casually, but someone who truly feels nothing about it. No countdown, no quiet expectations, no disappointment if nobody remembers. The day comes and goes like any other date on the calendar. While most people attach emotion, meaning, or even pressure to their birthday, these individuals move through it untouched. And at first glance, it can feel confusing. You might assume they're trying to seem mature or detached, or maybe emotionally distant. But what's actually happening inside their mind is far more complex and far more revealing than simple indifference. The psychology behind people who don't care about their birthday exposes deep truths about identity, expectation, emotional regulation, and how humans learn to protect themselves from disappointment. Imagine this scenario. You wish someone a happy birthday. You expect a smile, or at least a thank you. Instead, they pause, they nod, and they say something like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." Not awkwardly, not defensively, genuinely. There's no hidden sadness, no suppressed frustration, just neutrality. This isn't about being humble, and it's not about pretending not to care to look strong. For many people, this emotional neutrality is the result of years of psychological adaptation. And there isn't just one type of person who ends up here. There are several distinct psychological patterns that lead someone to stop caring about their birthday. And each one tells a very different story about how the human mind responds to life. Some people stop caring because caring once hurt too much. Early in life, birthdays are loaded with expectation. They're supposed to mean attention, recognition, belonging. But for some, those expectations were never met. The birthday passed quietly, or worse, it was forgotten or treated as unimportant. And when that happens repeatedly, the brain learns something critical. It learns that anticipation creates vulnerability. So it adapts. Instead of hoping, it lowers expectations. Instead of attaching emotion, it detaches. Over time, the mind reframes the birthday as just another day, not because the person doesn't want to feel special, but because feeling special once led to disappointment. This isn't emotional coldness, it's emotional self-defense. Their nervous system learned that not caring feels safer than caring and being let down. And the adaptation works. By expecting nothing, they never feel the sting of unmet recognition. Then there's another group, people who didn't stop caring because of pain, but because of overload. These individuals live in a constant state of mental saturation. Deadlines, responsibilities, financial pressure, emotional labor. Their brain is always prioritizing what's urgent. And in that environment, symbolic days lose their emotional weight. Birthdays require presence, reflection, pause. But when someone is mentally stretched thin, even meaningful moments feel like interruptions. They don't ignore their birthday intentionally, they simply don't have the cognitive space to emotionally process it. Their mind is focused on survival mode, managing today, tomorrow, and the next obligation. So the birthday becomes background noise, not because it lacks meaning, but because everything feels equally demanding. This psychological numbness isn't apathy, it's exhaustion expressed emotionally. But the most psychologically fascinating group is different from both of these. These are people who don't care about their birthday because they don't need it. They've developed what psychologists refer to as strong internal validation. Their sense of worth doesn't rise or fall based on external acknowledgement. They don't rely on special days to feel seen, valued, or significant. Their self-esteem is internally generated. And because of that, their birthday holds no emotional leverage over them. They don't reject celebration, they just don't depend on it.
This internal security often extends far beyond birthdays. These individuals don't chase praise at work. They don't feel incomplete without recognition. They don't measure their value through milestones. They experience life as inherently meaningful, not something that needs to be highlighted once a year. And this kind of psychological independence is rare. Most people spend their entire lives searching for it. But here's where it gets complicated. Not caring about your birthday can look the same on the surface, but the internal motivation matters deeply. One person is protecting themselves from disappointment. Another is overwhelmed by cognitive load. Another is genuinely emotionally self-sufficient. And unless you understand the difference, it's easy to misinterpret what you're seeing. These patterns don't stop at birthdays. Watch someone who doesn't care about their birthday, and you'll often notice something else. They approach achievements quietly. They process success internally. They don't seek external celebration. When something good happens, they acknowledge it, but they don't amplify it. Their emotional baseline stays steady. This stability can look like indifference to others, but internally it's often a form of emotional regulation. They don't experience extreme highs because they've learned how painful the lows can be. For those shaped by disappointment, this creates consistency. For those shaped by overload, it creates mental survival. And for those with internal validation, it creates peace. But there's an important question hiding beneath all of this. Are humans meant to celebrate themselves externally, or is that something society trained us to expect? Birthdays are cultural rituals. They reinforce belonging. They mark identity. But they also create comparison, expectation, pressure. Some people step away from that ritual not because they lack emotion, but because they've learned how to find meaning without performance. They don't wait for permission to feel whole. They don't need a date on the calendar to feel alive. Instead, they experience quiet self-recognition every day. And that can be deeply unsettling to those who depend on external validation, because it challenges something fundamental. It challenges the idea that we need others to confirm our worth. At the same time, there's another side to all of this. For some people, not caring about their birthday isn't strength, it's emotional disconnection. They learned not to care because caring once felt unsafe. And while the adaptation protected them, it may also limit connection. Celebrations aren't just about the individual. They're also about allowing others to show love. And when someone completely disengages from that, they might unknowingly block intimacy. This is why the psychology is so nuanced. Not caring about your birthday isn't good or bad. It's information. It reveals how you relate to expectation, to recognition, to vulnerability. Some people need celebration to feel grounded. Others find grounding within themselves. Both are responses to life. Both are shaped by experience. So the real insight isn't about birthdays at all. It's about how you define your value. Do you need external moments to feel seen, or have you learned to see yourself without them? Do celebrations energize you or exhaust you? Do you associate attention with connection or pressure? When you understand why someone doesn't care about their birthday, you understand how they've learned to navigate the world emotionally. And when you ask yourself the same question, you learn something just as important. Not about your birthday, but about how you experience meaning, identity, and self-worth. So now the question turns to you. If nobody remembered your birthday this year, how would you feel? Would it hurt? Would it disappoint you? Or would it barely register? Your answer doesn't define you, but it reveals the psychological patterns quietly shaping your emotional life. And understanding those patterns is where real self-awareness begins. If you found this insight meaningful, consider subscribing for more explorations into human psychology. And if there's a behavior you've always wondered about, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.